Here's a little update on the truck. Still got a long way to go, but today's little projects. Dash is going to come back out, but it's stuck in there for the winter. Just because I got to put speakers in it before I put it in permanently. What else did I do today? Well, you can see my little shelf back there. Corners still have to be done. When I do the speakers back there. I haven't done an update since it's been kind of back together. Here's the jams and stuff. You can see my, probably see the little door pins there. That's the tool steel set I bought. And then we got the little brass pieces for the convertibles. And the chrome piece that goes on the door over here. Long way to go on that part. Obviously I got the nose back on. Let's see, I can open this one-handed. So let's see, the other day I welded up that hole in the air cleaner. So I can start getting ready to paint that. We did get the motor back in, obviously. It's going to need a lot still, but it's in place anyway. All the little things, you know, the new EGR. If you can see, the intake's been powder coated with the exhaust. You can see a little better there. Still old crap for hoses in here that are not hooked up and all that stuff. There's the heater box area. So this here, I still got to get this. It focuses. Come on. New one of those, but that's money I don't have right now. They're not cheap. I did replace the little switch. And we got, let's see if I can get the battery box here. There's the battery box all back in place. Radiator's back in place, just waiting for, again, I got to get the top plate. I could clean this one up, but for what they cost, it's not even worth it. Because this had these extra holes in it. A whole bunch of them. And I could fix those. But these things are so cheap. By the time I do that and clean the rust off, it's not even worth it. Let's see. The wiring's starting to get put in place a little bit. The wiper motor still needs new rubber bushings and bolts. Those aren't mandatory right now. Just like this tune-up's not done yet. That's next year's project. But the wiring's getting back in. See, it crosses over the radiator support top. It's not attached to the firewall. It's just there. Today's project was working on these brake lines and the power steering lines. I can't find my little bracket that bolts the lines to the frame. I gotta find something or make one. I don't know. I think I made that one anyway. And then hooking the lines to the proportioning valve. Let's see. What a freaking pain in the neck today. Oh. I don't know if you can see, there's like no room in here. I mean, you've got, with this, it's tight. I had to take the brace back out. What a pain. Not a huge deal, but It's already been bolted in. I hate taking things back apart. And then we can get a little shot underneath. See the motor in there. Let's see. This was last week's project, getting the motor in last week and putting the nose back on the truck. There's the transmission. Had that rebuilt a couple weeks ago. I'm not thrilled with the pan on it. I want to get a better pan, but for now it'll be fine. I haven't filled it yet. But there's the adapters powder coated, cross members powder coated. I just put a yoke in there so I can start filling the transmission for now. I'll detail the bolts and stuff after. But the transfer case isn't done. So, best I could do is put a yoke in it for now. It's the same splines. It's actually a hair smaller, but it still fits the seal. So I'll be able to fill that up at least. There's the underneath. A lot of bolts got to be tightened and stuff still. Oh, I also sprayed. I'll have to touch this up. I should have done it before I painted it, but you can see a little gray. Like right here, I did paint inside the rockers with rust proofing. So I could put the plug inside the rocker. I got that little, you can see it. You can see a little bit there. There's a little plug right there. So I ran the big wand through there and coated it all. Doesn't seem like a lot, but there's a solid week this past week putting stuff together, because there was no fenders on this a few days ago. Hood, cab was still loose, radio support wasn't on it, nothing. Slowly, but winter's coming. I'll be putting it away pretty soon. Yeah, I redid the painted the steering shaft. That was last week or week before. I still gotta get a nut for that. I changed the lower bearing parts. Put the new shifter bushing in that I've had in the GM package for like 20 years. Still need to do all the brake stuff, booster and master and all that kind of stuff. Gas pedals in, hooked up. But you can see here's how tight the caddy is back there. I don't know if you can see. I mean, there's room, but it's tight. Behind the firewall's got plenty. Still a lot of detailing with that stuff too. The motor mounts aren't even tightened down. There's a center bolt for each motor mount, and I lost one of the big washers, so I gotta get one of those. Then there's like a little bracket that holds your brake light wire, but I'm gonna have that, a bunch of little parts like that I'm having coated. Not really coated. They're a gold color. I forget what it's called. Brain fart, whatever. But I'm having those redone. A bunch of little stuff like there's one down in there for the e-brake, no, for the speedometer cable. A bunch of those little brackets. The carb linkage one. I'm going to send all those out to get coated. I forget the name of it. It's the same coating they have on grade 8 bolts. And what we got back here? It's just the old tailgate. So that was a little project too. when I pre-fitted everything, I never tightened the hitch on. So then I had the bumper adjusted a little bit better, a little higher up. But then when you open the tailgate, the GMC letters hit the top of the bumper. So I dropped the bumper down, but I couldn't because the bumper was hitting the trailer hitch. So if you see right on the sides there, I don't know if you can see how close that is. It's tight, but it clears. You can see that little lip there ran all the way across. So I had to grind that lip off where the hitch is. And now the hitch is bolted up all the way. All those little things take forever. Yeah, that panel's going to be coming back off. A lot of stuff's coming back off. Because I actually got this little corner. I got tape on it right now, but this corner's got to be filed a little. Touches a little bit too hard, it's going to end up cutting the paint. And I still don't have this bedside taillight stuff in because I have to repaint that white. But that's next year's project. I've got to redo that white, and I got to do the front lower valance. Yeah, you can see the little dirt spots. I don't know if you can see them. They're right there. Whatever. So I just got to wet sand that more and paint that next year. A lot of stuff. Them lights are coming back out. But if they're on the truck, they're not getting lost, broken, misplaced, like I've done a bunch of stuff. I'm usually good with that stuff, but I've misplaced a bunch of stuff on this truck. The stupid things. I have them. Like I don't have the springs for the headlights. I had them in my hand over the summer. And they were in the box with my headlight adjusters and stuff, but apparently they're not anymore. But yeah, so next big project, I do got to get a windshield gasket in this thing so I can get the windshield in. So I need a new windshield gasket, a new windshield, and then the power brake booster, master, and none of the brake stuff is going to be hooked up for a while. Because I don't need all calipers and everything for the front end. And the front end's got to get torn apart and redone anyway. And the rear is not going to be this rear. It's going to be the one out of a 05. I mean, yeah, right, 95 Chevy. So it's not even going to be this rear end. Different gear ratio, different rear. And that's going to need all brakes and wheel cylinders and drums and all that stuff too. But now that it's sitting down on its weight, I can start taking care of things like all these bolts that aren't tight. Like the rear hanger, you can see is loose. A lot of these bolts are still loose. Like even this, because I painted that after. So you just got to systematically start going over all the bolts. I let them sit. The longer they can sit before I tighten the bolts, the better. I got to wire in the gas gauge because this is a. Here's the clip. This is a 87 tank. It's a fuel injected tank. It's made for a pump in there. So if I want to put a pump in there later, and I got to just rewire to a plug to plug into this for the gauge. Here you can see the inside handle. I need to redo the vent windows. They're laying there. I'm probably going to put these on. I bought these years ago. they go between the front floor support and the wheel well. But they're not made for this body style. They're for the newer ones in the 80s. But I think they still kind of work. Yeah, so the vent window needs new rubbers. I have one coming. There's the heater motor. I'll be replacing that one. I have these. These are for the vent window, but not these vent windows. So these are the back strip right here. But these are for an 80s truck. I also have the one-piece vent window rubber. Another GM set of those. But I don't have the 74 sets like these. All in all, we've made some ton of progress in the past month. Yeah, I bought a used cluster. I'm going to put the new aluminum stuff on it. So instead of messing with mine, because mine's still original. That was like 20 bucks, whatever. But we're getting there. At least it looks like a truck again. Yeah, like this plate that goes here, that's getting sent out and done with all the little brackets. So there's a bunch of little stuff. This will actually have a high top air cleaner that came with these trucks in the mid 80s. And then there's tubes that go from here to the radiator support on both sides. Yeah, I got new stainless fuel line. Did that last week. Bought a pre-bent one, but I had to over by the carb. It was like an inch and a half too long. I'm sure I could have made it work, but it didn't really fit right. So I just cut and reflared that end. I would have made my own, but I couldn't make the bend at the bottom with my bender. There's a 180-degree bend down there. I try to make that bend, and it starts to kink. So I don't have a good enough bender for that. Oh, there we go. A little update on the truck. I was a bit nervous putting parts on after they've been painted. I never did that. So this shot window. Yeah, they're looking this side. Knock myself silly on this trailer. There we go.